in other news in basketball, um, what I've just heard this past week, or I think it was last week, is that now it's official. Um, Russell Westbrook is going to be on the LA squad now. So we have LeBron, the bro guy, and Westbrook, and now we have a talks of now since I just was on my phone earlier with my group chat, is that they're in talks of maybe going to pick up either Chris Paul because he's a free agent now, he's not coming back to the Suns, or they're going to pick up Melo. So it's just kind of like I'm really sick of all the super teams, man. It loses my respect.
Yeah, I mean, this is and I mean, like, if they want to chase championships that way, I guess they can do that. I don't like it. I feel like it totally waters down everything. It makes you not want to watch. This is why I haven't watched um, the NBA. This is why I love San Antonio so much, and it's not just because my family's loved San Antonio forever, but the reason why they won so many championships in the last 20 years is because it hasn't been because of Tim Duncan or Ginobili or Tony Parker or whoever's on the team. It's been a mix of all those guys, and they've been in and out and injured here and injured there, but they've always been there. They stayed at the same team,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been great together, and they've changed as a team and grown as a team, and that's what made them so good. This chasing championships is just it's like Jeff Bezos just stacking the deck, and then like patting himself on the back, like
Oh yeah,
you didn't
I
really
did a
do
good
any you didn't
job.
really do anything if you just put all the chips on your side before the game even played. You didn't play, so
Yep.
it's one thing when you like outwork a team, right? Like, and that's why I like San Antonio because they outwork.
Yep.
And what we'll go into the next topic here right after, kind of going into that theme, but this whole idea with Russell Westbrook going in there, not only like he's gonna ruin that team like worse than they're already ruined. Like, he will not work well with LeBron. There's no way in hell.
Nope.
Like, that's the thing that's funny about this trade is if it was actually for a super team, and I didn't hear anything about Chris Paul or
Oh,
what's
it,
his
it was
face
just it
going.
was just like a few minutes ago. Just
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at this point, but because they got rid of like Kuzma for Kuzma and one other guy for Westbrook, and to me, I wouldn't have got him. Westbrook is kind of he's a ball hog. There's no way
he's
he's going to work
selfish,
well
man.
with. There's no way he's going to work with LeBron. LeBron's selfish,
Yep.
so I think it's a bad trade. I really do because Westbrook is. I would rather take a younger guy over Westbrook at this point. He hasn't. I mean, he's great, but he hasn't really proven himself on a team. Like, he's not a team player at all. It's like you can't like one superstar who's not willing to work with other superstars is not going to make a good super team. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Golden State became a super team with when Kevin Durant came finally, and you had the other couple guys that they drafted, and they're pretty similar to the Spurs, other than Durant when they got
When they
Kevin
got KD,
Durant.
yeah,
So I feel like that took a lot of um, like some of their
the chemistry.
I got chemistry away. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I think Westbrook's gonna kill the chemistry. I mean, I don't think they have chemistry there at all, anyways, right now.
No.
It's a disaster in LA, and they're paying ungodly sums of money to these guys. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Let LA waste some money.
Yep. They had yeah, like when you said about Golden State, like they weren't first round picks or anything like that. Like they were like, third round, like I know like Curry was like, like the third round, another pick number. But like all those guys, like they weren't yeah, I mean they're great, but their draft number, their where they got their pick and everything, like that was just the front office
Yeah,
just being a genius.
smart.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
you look at like the in say what you will about Draymond Green, but I feel like he plays a part in that, at least at the height of their team in the last decade. Um, he played that Bash brother role, that
Oh
enforcer
yeah.
type role for the Golden State Warriors, and I can't stand him. I think he's the most arrogant, ignorant person on the court. I mean, he's worse than LeBron because he thinks he's got his probably a louder mouth than LeBron, and but he plays a role and it works really well with that team. Like, it goes well together. So I mean, I got to give him props for what they've done over there. But like I said, when you got another superstar on there, and then you wonder why it falls apart after superstars leave. It's like, well, that's because it's not a team. Like when
Yeah.
Tim Duncan left, they still were really the Spurs were still really good. And then you had Tony Parker, and then Ginobili leave, and then it started going crumbling. And now they're like in a rebuild phase. But they went through 2 decades, 22 seasons of going to the playoffs,
Yeah, they were like
and
consistent, right?
they have
Yeah,
the
like
most
consistent playoffs.
they have the most wins in the last 25 years,
Yeah,
like more than any other team
and they
in
have the
any other
greatest
sport.
coach too.
And they have the greatest coach. He's the Bill Belichick of NBA.
Mm-hmm. That's why he gives zero F's in press conferences. I love his press conferences.
It's great. It's
Yeah,
great.
that no bullshit attitude. He just looks at especially gets like a dumb question. He just looks at him for like three or
It's
four
like,
seconds.
what did
He's
we
just
do wrong? We didn't play good
yeah.
enough defense.
He's like,
That's kind of
look
how
at the
I would
tape.
be.
Look at the tape.
Yeah, and
uh,
I mean, I think that leads us really into the next, kind of this in the same vein, but we can talk about it. It's congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks.
yeah.
That well deserved, well
Well,
deserved. This,
well earned. Well
eh,
earned.
an opposite to everything we've seen. Probably, let's just say it's
It's probably
probably the last 5 years, at least the last 5 years, probably longer than that. But this is the first season that I can honestly say Toronto was pretty good,
oh
pretty
yeah.
close to this as well. But like this is the first time in a long time where we haven't had a super team in the finals. Like even when because didn't Kawhi go up against LeBron?
Yeah. It was just
So
Kawhi, and they had like they had another star too, but he wasn't like I mean he was
yeah,
great, but he wasn't like a
They had Danny
superstar.
Green. They had Danny Green from San Antonio and stuff. So I mean
Yeah.
they had a lot of they had a lot of good guys, but they were not LeBron Jameses and big names and stuff.
Yeah, they
So
weren't big names
but
at the time.
but this is the first time in a very long time that I can remember, anyways, that um, two teams got to the finals that were not like just
Like
stacked to the
yeah, like
deck,
stacked teams. Yeah,
or they
exactly.
weren't, or they took what they got and worked with it. The way both teams looked, ball handling, like I said, like I was telling you earlier, I think they both looked like Spurs. Man, that just reminded me of that team. I don't want to blow smoke up that team's ass further, but I mean that's what it looked like. The ball handling was fantastic. They're going around the court. It was awesome. It was awesome, and I thought the Suns were going to take it. I really want Chris Paul to win. I mean,
He's been in
I
that
think he's
season
great.
for how many years now, and
I
he
hope he
finally
goes to
made it
San
to the ship,
Antonio.
man.
I didn't know he was a free agent either. So like, go to San
Yeah,
Antonio. Go to San Antonio. Get a few. I mean, like, they've still got a good. I mean, they still got Greg Popovich. Like, I don't doubt him.
yeah.
Like, they've still got a great team. They've got a great. There's a lot of. I'm gonna just keep talking about the Spurs the rest of the night, but I loved it. Is it Giannis or Giannis,
Giannis,
whatever the hell his
Giannis,
name is.
Giannis.
I was saying it was funny. Like 2 months ago, I was on the car ride from Michigan to Indiana on the way back and stuff, and we were talking about who do we think the best is, and this is right at the beginning of the playoffs. So I was like, Giannis, man, he's my favorite player right now, hands down. He reminds me of like a David Robinson. That's what he reminds me of. San Antonio Spurs. Uh, but I mean, the guy's massive. He reminds me of like a an old enforcer type. I mean, and it's funny. You watched some of the TNT with Shaq and Charles Barkley. Shaq literally is giving him the new Superman title. So
Yeah,
like they're giving him props. And I was saying this a couple months ago, and even last season, I watched him play a couple times, and I'm like, man, this guy's got it all. He's got a lot of tools in the tool belt, but he's also not like, all right, we're gonna just chalk up a three. He's not a Kevin Durant where he's just gonna throw up threes all night. He's gonna go to the
he's
hoop,
gonna drive into
and
the hoop and lay up. Just get it
yeah,
out your way.
and the defense is probably even
That
more. I mean, the last game
they
though,
had
I
the
mean, he
best. They
threw
had
up
the
50
great
points.
defense, man. They had the great defense.
He threw up 50 points last game. I
Yep.
mean, that's insane for a freaking finals game.
Yeah.
But but overall, I mean, like I said, I was kind of hoping the Suns were gonna win, but I really liked the fact that it was just a refreshing. This is the first time in a long time that I actually gave a shit about the finals.
Yeah.
In a
Same
long
here.
time,
Same here.
at least 5 years, where I was actually watching the finals because there were two teams that weren't stacked, and not. It's not like I don't like watching LeBron James. Just LeBron James is one of the greatest players that ever played the game, and when he goes to a team and then starts recruiting a bunch of awesome players, it's just like, well, that's not even you playing. That's just you. It's just you trading. Like it's a joke. So
He's just riding he's just riding the players as talent. Then he'll be ready for like playoffs. Like, okay, I'm ready to play now.
yeah, I mean, it's just I don't like that. That's not sportsmanship. I mean, you look at and you can live up the old days of football with like the great Boston Celtics or the Bad Boys and the Michael Jordan days. Like they would never,
They would
never in a
never do that.
million years do this. Like
Nope.
that's the guy I play with. Like I'm not trading unless the organization trades me. Like I don't want to go. Like I'm
Yeah.
here to play basketball and I'm here to do what we have to do. Like build this team up to the point where we're gonna win against everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead the mentality is, all right, what do I got to do this season to build up to the next championship? And maybe it's not here, you know. And then it's just it's a totally different mentality, and it it ruins it. And you know what? And this kind of can go back into Space Jam. This is why nobody likes LeBron James for Space Jam because he's not like that's all he's ever done.
Yeah.
He's went from place to place, and then he's when it's went to shit, he leaves. Like whenever it goes bad, he leaves instead of sticking it out and being great. Like he could have been great in Cleveland. He probably would have the same amount of championships if he just stayed there and built it up and built a good relationship with the coach. And that's not what he's done. He's gone to just chase rings, and it's like
Yep.
that's why he'll never be MJ or Kobe. You know, like
Yep.
Kobe was always going to be a Laker. There's no way.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Imagine him like going to like a different team, man. I would.
it never happened.
Couldn't believe. I
You know,
can't
like
imagine it.
Tim, and I mean, I'm gonna talk more about the Spurs, but like Tim Duncan, I believe he took a pay cut to, or maybe it was
Yeah.
David
Yeah. No. No.
Robinson
No. 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 He did. I remember he took
to
a
get
pay cut
I think Tony
to
to
have
get Tony
Tony
Parker
Parker's to stay.
or Ginobili, and I think David Robinson took a pay cut to get
Yeah, just to have those
David
guys on the
Robinson.
team.
So it's like, what kind of person does that? You know, like,
Yeah.
and that the other thing I like about the Spurs is it's just a freaking melting pot. You know, and that's what I like about Giannis. You know, he's the Greek freak. I mean,
Yeah. From
these
Greece.
overseas guys, man, that's where San Antonio's talent came from. You know, like the islands. Where's one of Tony Parker's from France. I mean, these guys are all from all over the place, and it's really cool to see this like hodgepodge of different guys. Like literally watching like the American dream come together, and like, oh, well, that's why they're winning because they're setting everything else aside, and
Yeah.
like, oh, that's why we're winning because we're work together to beat LeBron. Like, what do we got to do this year to beat LeBron's dream team? And then they do it. Like they
Yeah.
did it
They do
multiple
it.
times. Like
Yeah.
that's why they're great.
Yeah.
So you know, it was great this year to see the Bucks and the Suns to
Yeah.
do it.
I
'Cause
mean,
I didn't think they were both. I didn't think either of them were like that crazy team. I think they were awesome, trained, awesome off season, and then they just
mhm.
went to town and went in the finals. Everything clicked. You know, so
Yeah, I would
cheers to
say that
Milwaukee.
because like it could have been either way. I would have been happy if Chris Paul finally won and he could have retired and go off to the sunset. And, then if Giannis wins, then he just proves to like everyone like I don't need a super team. So I mean, like it could have been like both sides of the coin. Like I wouldn't be mad at at either team winning. So that's like even great too, especially for like like any major sport. Like up teams that were like so underrated or they weren't talked about. Now they're in the finals, and you got all these quote unquote experts talking about we never imagine a team like this being in the playoffs. None of these two teams, like something
Yep.
like that. Like I think that's what's great about like the NBA playoffs because like I whenever it was on, I would have it in the background just watching it, and it was great to see that, you know, it was great competition between both teams. I think that yeah, like you said, it was really refreshing just to see like, holy crap, like we actually have two teams that deserve, the championship, and
Yeah,
that
we're
was
two
that was
team.
just great.
Two actual teams that worked their way to the championship.
Yeah,
That's the way I felt.
yeah,
Maybe I'm missing some of the details here, but that's I feel like that's something that's been lost in the NBA, and that's why the ratings suck. I mean, outside of we can go to the political messaging. I mean, I don't think people want to see all this crap when they're trying to just watch a basketball game, but um, that I think that's probably a bigger reason
yeah.
the
Well, I agree.
these super teams is why people don't want to watch it because it's not competitive. The reason why the Olympics are so great, and I watch. I don't know about you,
Oh, I've
but
been watching
the
it.
reason why the Olympics are so great, especially when it's a competitive sport, is because it's competition.
Yeah,
I was watching freaking high jump today. I was watching the high jump. Did you watch that? It
I
was
watched
awesome.
I
I mean,
watched the hurdles and the 400s. Dude, I've never seen so many wipeouts, man. You see
yeah,
that you
yeah.
see that France girl that she
At the beginning of
at the
the
very
first
beginning
hurdle,
of the beginning of the
yeah, it
hurdle.
was real bad.
Oh man, it was
But I
just
mean, that's the kind of stuff like I love that stuff. These guys have trained and they've built themselves up,
for
and it's like,
4 years, 4 years for like a minute. for like a
Yeah,
minute race, man. That's
and
just
it's
crazy.
and it's not like you've like, well, no, we're gonna trade a couple good runners over to Team USA. It's like there's something that just takes out of the competition, like that it takes away so much from like, oh, the hard work of actually winning it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there's something wrong about that.
Yeah.
Like that's why feel like there should be some sort of like maybe they need to rethink like the player cap in the NBA
Yeah, like the
because
salary cap, and I mean you can't put a price on talent, but it's just kind of like, well, look at the
well,
market.
I think definitely players are worth more than others, but I think
Hmm.
putting it and maybe I don't know enough about the player cap and how it works in the NBA, but like the reason why it's there is because there's less competition when there's no cap.
Yeah.
Like, and it's for purposes of entertainment. Like the NBA is there to make money, and people are not going to watch if it's just, if it's just the Globetrotters, uh, going against the eighth grade heritage or the heritage senior basketball team. Like that's not or varsity basketball team. That's not entertainment.
Yeah. All I know is Milwaukee John Deere got a whole lot of business
Yeah.
from that.
So did my company. We may or may not insure them. So.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's kind of like our spill with like the whole basketball and with the whole NBA, at least in NBA terms of, sports and, viewerships and everything. I think we kind of agree where we're at with that too. Um, but yeah, I would say, yeah, congrats again to Giannis. He well deserved, earned it, every bit of it. And I don't know. Well, before we go on to the next subject, I don't know if did you ever see that picture of him when he got recruited when he was 18, and like now it's so crazy how like growth, and it's just crazy how he put that much work in, and now he's just like he's a monster. And then like when he got drafted, and think him and Middleton, those were the original two left on the team. So it's kind of like it's kind of sweet that like there was like the original like starting five. Now there's only two left, and they stuck it out. It's really rewarding like seeing that like they stuck around, and Giannis
Yeah.
even told them like, hey, you guys recruited me. And like that's the thing. He's like he's not a selfish player too. He's kind of like he was humbled, being drafted by Milwaukee, and he's kind of like, give me time, I'll put the work in, and I'll give you a championship, and he fucking did it, dude. So
Yeah.
that's just it shines like some little glimmer of hope, in the world of sports and how things should work. But now we got super teams being built, so it's kind of like, well, screw that, screw the hard work. We're gonna build our own super team and
Yep.
go the easy route. And which why I'll always boo any super team or anything that how they got there. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the other team unless it's
Except
unless it's two super
except for
teams.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, screw that. Well, we'll get to football next time.
We got
Yeah,
another month or so before we're
yeah,
gonna worry
before
about
we worry about football.